It was supposed to be a simple getaway, just a few days to unplug before classes started again. My girlfriend, Elise, had found the place, a small cabin listed way under market price, buried deep in the woods about 2 hours from the nearest town. It looked peaceful in the photos, quiet, isolated in a way that felt intentional. Her cousin, Mark, came along too. He needed a break, and honestly, I was glad to have another person there. The idea of being that far out made me a little uneasy, even if I didn't say it. We arrived just before sunset. The drive-in was long and narrow, surrounded by trees so dense they blocked most of the sky. By the time we reached the cabin, it already felt like night was closing in. The first thing I noticed was how still everything was. No wind, no insects, no distant animal sounds. Just silence. Mark joked about it, saying maybe we'd finally found a place where nothing lived. Elise laughed it off, but I could tell she felt it too. There was a second structure behind the cabin, a small windowless building. It looked older than the main cabin, with peeling paint and a heavy metal door. A thick chain was wrapped around the handle, secured with a padlock that looked almost new. I asked Elise about it, but she said it wasn't mentioned in the listing. We didn't think much of it after that. That night started normal. We made dinner, had a couple drinks, and sat out on the porch for a while. The silence stuck around though. Even after it got fully dark, the woods didn't make a sound. It felt wrong. We went to bed earlier than planned. I don't know what time it was when I woke up, but something pulled me out of sleep. At first, I thought it was a dream. Then, I heard it again. Footsteps, slow, heavy, circling the cabin. I sat up, listening. The steps moved across the gravel, paused near the front, then continued toward the side of the house. I glanced over at Elise. She was still asleep. Another step, closer this time. I got out of bed and moved to the window, barely pulling the curtain aside. There was someone out there. I couldn't see them clearly, just a shape moving in the dark. But they were close, too close. Close enough that I could hear their breathing through the glass. I backed away slowly, my heart pounding. That's when the knocking started. 3 slow, deliberate taps on the front door. Mark woke up immediately. He stepped into the hallway, eyes wide, asking if I heard it too. Before I could answer, a voice came from outside. Calm, flat. "I know you're in there." We froze. The voice didn't sound angry. It didn't sound rushed. It sounded certain. Mark whispered that we should call the police. I nodded and grabbed my phone, but there was no signal, not even a flicker. Another knock, louder this time. Open the door. Elise was awake now, standing behind me, gripping my arm so tightly it hurt. No one moved. Then came a sound that made my stomach drop. Metal scraping. From the back of the cabin. Mark's face went pale. "The shed," he whispered. We heard the chain rattle, then the unmistakable click of a lock being opened. I don't know how they got the key. The back door handle started to turn, slowly, deliberately. I grabbed the nearest thing I could find, a kitchen knife, and motioned for Elise to lock herself in the bathroom. Mark and I stood there, staring at the door as it creaked open just a fraction. Then, headlights flooded the front windows. A car. Whoever was outside stopped immediately. The footsteps retreated fast, disappearing into the trees without a sound. We didn't move for a long time. When we finally worked up the nerve to check outside, there was no one there. No footprints, no sign that anyone had been on the property at all. Except for one thing. The shed. The chain was gone. The door was wide open, and inside there was nothing. Just dirt and deep grooves in the ground like something heavy had been dragged out recently. We left before sunrise. To this day, I still think about that voice. Not what it said, but how it knew we were already awake.